When it comes to Jalen Tolbert, I think a lot of us here had these expectations that this guy was going to come in and, based off what we saw with the college film, maybe he can do something to help with the problem of Amari Cooper leaving, the injuries to Gallup and Washington, but there hasn't been anything. The Cowboys have not played him at all to start the season. He's been healthy scratches. And they say that it's like a hamstring problem, but the problem is he played in every single preseason game, so that begs the question, like, what is going on with Jalen Tolbert? So, before we begin, do your due diligence, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If not, Stephen Jones is going to get mad at you, and he's going to take your pie away. Look, I think that the thing is that we in Cowboys fandom have a problem with how we analyze certain prospects. I think that you have a good chunk of the fan base that overhypes some of these prospects, thinks that they're going to come in and be A1 day one starters. Sometimes they're projects. And I think with Jalen Tolbert, did I think this guy was going to be your number one? Absolutely not. But I did think he could make a push to being your number 4, number 3. I think the problem has been the drops, the inconsistencies that we kind of showcased throughout. Like, I thought the first game he had, he looked decent. But again, the quarterback play was subpar. And then as the play started to get better, Tolbert really didn't take advantage of his opportunities. He had a touchdown. He didn't have good feet placements. So a lot of these maybe culminated in they're like, I don't think we should play him. But Noah Brown's been playing phenomenally well to the point where it's like, okay. So when Gallup and Washington come back, like, where does Tolbert fit into this? Like, you kind of have to give Tolbert something, right? Because we haven't seen anything. That's the problem, is that now it kind of feels like the Cowboys have a third-round pick that they used on a guy that isn't getting playing time. Now, it's not his fault if other guys are playing very well, but it is his fault if he's not doing his part to get onto the football field. And to a certain extent, I get that, but when you have Stephen Jones and the Jones boys coming out being like, oh, we had all these high expectations, and I think we made a mistake having the... Like, who does that? That's not good. Because now what you're telling me is that, okay, we felt that this guy was going to be our number 2 or number 3 wide receiver, but I feel like he's not ready to do that yet. Then don't put these expectations on him. I think that a good example of this is when Gallup came in. Hey, Dez was gone. You had this wide receiver by committee crap, and Gallup took a bit to kind of get going. I would say that the Jags game, that was probably like 3 games in, where we were like, all right, Gallup, we got something here. But the thing was Gallup was getting playing time. Tolbert has not gotten any playing time. Now, granted, different circumstances. You got a guy in CeeDee Lamb. Noah Brown's been playing well. Michael Gallup most likely will come back. So if, now you're kind of thinking like, okay, well, what do we do here? Like, I think this is just what I honestly think. Tolbert was one of those situations where it's like a long-term wide receiver 3 investment. And I think he was more of the Cedric Wilson replacement than the Amari Cooper replacement. So here's what I think is going to happen. And now that Dennis Houston isn't here anymore, I think the Cowboys are going to roll with Gallup, Lamb, Noah Brown, James Washington, and then those guys. Tolbert might get some playing time here and there, but I think that he's going to get eased in next year. And is that good? Not really, because you could have used that pick for something else, but at the same time, like, we have situations to where you have overcrowded rooms, with like, when you have guys that are playing so well, and this is kind of like the same thing with the linebacking room with Jabril Cox and him not getting playing time, is that when you have other guys that are playing well, why would I put someone else in there if I know what I'm getting from that group? Now, you can argue that, hey, Jabril Cox had a really good tape that said, hey, this guy can do something, and I think that, yeah, he's shown it, but again, I think that the Cowboys are just trying to hit, like, they see what's in front of them. I think that if we come back and James Washington isn't playing well, or we start seeing a string of games where these guys aren't playing well, then you might see Tolbert inserted. But again, that's not really good. I don't think it's good for the sake of the team. I don't think it's good for the sake of everything else. I think that this kind of speaks volume to, okay, now we're having questions about how we drafted. I know Sam Williams, I think he's been getting some playing time here and there. He's looked decent, but nothing outer worldly. I think, again, you have other guys in front of him that are playing better than him. And, I mean, these are rookies, and I'm not trying to sit here and be like, this is a bust draft in the first year. But what we can see is that a couple of good things. Okay, you know, kind of deflecting to the draft. Tyler Smith, we've seen what we got with him. Cool. Sam Williams and Jalen Tolbert, I think, are in the same problem. They're in a room that has a lot of other good players in there, and they're kind of like trying to make a name for themselves, but they can't. Jake Ferguson, I really like what I've been seeing with him blocking. I think that if Dalton Schultz is out for a long period of time, I know he got hurt. I don't know if he's going to play. They haven't really said much, but I'm really excited to see what Jake Ferguson can do because it looks like this guy definitely is what we've been needing. We've been needing a tight end that can block efficiently to open up these lanes when we go into the 12 personnel. I'm trying to think. You know, Deron Bland, he's in the same situation. Well, I would argue that you could make a push for playing time, but I think that you've gotten good stuff on him. I think that he's made a solid of enough play to be like, hey, I can get playing time. You know, and you have a couple of these other guys, which I'm not going to get into. But I think that when you look at this draft class, I think the biggest thing is the first 3 picks. You know, and that's honestly where you need to make your mark. Do these first 3 guys make an impact? Now, it's not... we would be having a different discussion, but I think that the problem is that Dennis Houston making the roster over him was a big red flag. And now that Dennis Houston is now gone, and if Gallup returns this week, that's one thing, but... if Gallup doesn't return, right? Let's say that Gallup doesn't come back for this Giants game, and we come to find out that Simi Fajoko's taken his spot, or whatever the case may be. That's a problem. I think that Jalen Tolbert has deserved the right to get some playing time, if, you know, given the circumstances. But if the coaches don't like him, then something's up here. Like, someone made a wrong pick. And so I'm hoping that's not the case. But with all that being said, guys, I hope that Jalen Tolbert pans out. We still got plenty of season to go. We've only gone through 2 damn weeks. We got 15 more to go. And so plenty of time to get to some Jalen Tolbert action. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, do your due diligence so that Stephen Jones doesn't get upset with you and take your pie away. Because, you know, there's only so much to go around. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alright, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.